Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. Welcome back. This is a 1 in 24 game, guys. 1 in 24. It might be close to 1 in 24 based on how well I did and how I usually do in games anyway. But the reason I called it that this time is I sat down and I had a day of playing the game, which I did. And I played 24 games that day, which was quite a bit. It was an atrociously awful, horrible day. I probably had 2 or 3 decent games, and this was the very last one of the evening, and it's where I stopped because I realized it just wasn't going to get any better than this. This is the LKPZ 70K. It's a German light tank, although it's as big as some heavy tanks, at least the hull is. It's certainly as big as a bunch of medium tanks. We are here on the Light Tanks Nirvana of Prokhovka. How is this tank doing overall? Well, it's a tier 8, so let's take a look at tier 8 light tanks, and it actually sits at number 2 in win rate. It does have a positive win rate differential. It tends to have better players playing it, but it does pretty well. It doesn't have a lot of battles, 3,422 for the last 30 days. So for me, though, it's been a bit difficult to really capture a significantly above 50% win rate in this thing. It has a pretty good HE shell. It's got some pretty decent, 105 pen and 320, not bad, especially with a little gun it is. Has a heat round with 260 pen, which is okay for a light tank. It's otherwise a 240 alpha gun with APCRs. It's regular round and heat for its special round. I am running a CVS Optics Bounty and Bounty LNES. I have not done I don't have many games at about 23. I haven't finished up the field mods in it, but once I get a secondary setup, there'll be some kind of combat setup for city maps and things like that. I am running large kits, and I do have chocolate, which you can't see there. All right, we're spawned into the north on Proc. It, like I said, is a great light tank game. I'm also top tier with tier 6s to bully. There are some other light tanks, though. There's a Chaffee, Super Chaffee, and then there's a tier 7 EBR Hotchkiss and an LT432 on the other side. We have myself, we have an EBR, so matching the wheelies, and then in a Type 64. So looking at that, I'm not really confident I can out-scout a lot of that. I do have the definite advantage of a CVS. There should not be any other tanks with CVS in this game other than the LT432 because there are no tier 8 mediums and you can't put it on a tier 7 or below. So that's nice, but I really would love to get the LT432 dead before I start to try to be much of a light tank. In terms of at least pushing the vision forward, I can do lots of vision stuff a little more passively or carefully with maneuver, but I don't want to push too far forward because there's plenty of light tanks in this game, and this thing's not especially stealthy. 1 in 24 game, as I said, and we've been on Proc a lot. I've showed you a lot of replays on it. A lot of times it boils down to staying alive and allowing the enemy light tanks to make mistakes and potentially taking advantage of those mistakes to delete them if you can, without getting yourself deleted. Does that sound easy? That's simple, right? No problem. Stay alive, keep your hit points, delete enemy light tanks, don't get deleted. All right, cool, easy. So, very simple. I know, at least I think I know, I'm pretty sure I can get for it. There are several bushes you can go to on the map from the north spawn right here. Just cover them. I've covered them in the past, but for those of you who might be new or just getting into light tanks, obviously this little bush area is nice. There's this one, which is a little higher, gives you a little bit more vision back in there in terms of the angles, but it also exposes you a little more to their spotters coming up onto this hill there. Notice the EBR's way over here. And they have bad view range, right? So the EBR actually, even though he's that far inside my spotting circle, to be spotted circle, he's probably not going to see me. But let's say the WZ-132 came here at about F2. About the same time I'm getting here, he can be right there. And if I go too high up this hill, now you get spotting lanes through these bushes or above these bushes and you get spotted. The super dangerous one is getting up here, although that one is absolutely fantastic for spotting. I just did not feel like I had the speed or the camo to do that based on the enemy light tanks out there. So I'm going to take the safer version of these right here. The other nice thing about this spot is that you can escape from it if you go straight away for a while. If you avoid cutting into this open area right here behind me, and just like that, I started to get some guys, and man, did I want to shoot, but I'm just going to let it go. I'd love to see either one of those guys die, but any hit points or damage they do to them is going to be fantastic. Unfortunately, my team can't hit a daggum thing minus the 435 I got off the Super Chaffee. But that's okay. That lets us know where two of them are. It looks like at least right now, the wheeled tank is trolling around the middle. You can see him right now down there. And then I have both of the enemy light tanks on this side. What's going on the east side of the map? Nothing good. And then the EBR just YOLOs. I'm like, all right, whatever. Maybe someone will shoot at him and I'll get the... There we go. So we got the Super, probably sees him by now. Boom, he's dead. Jeez, that's amazing. But I do get the kill on the Super Chaffee. YOLO wheel tank, fellas. What are you going to do? We did get the Super Chaff out, though. I'm not really jazzed about this, to be honest. There's the 432 again. I'm like, oh, this is a massive, massive chance. I really want to shoot, but I'm thinking if he gets down to one shot and he doesn't die pretty quickly, I might take that shot. Well, it looks like we're just going to let him go. I'm just really hoping he gets nuked here. Kind of a missed opportunity with all those shells. I was a little bit worried that XM might just drive up on me. And then he spun back around and started coming back at me. And I'm going, ah, no. He has to know I'm in here somewhere. Keeping a total eye on what's going on over there, though, guys. Over on the east side. Not great. The Berza, I like that the Type 64 sort of repositioned. He's just kind of keeping an eye there. Once they start pushing over there, we'll have an idea that they're going to come up and over on that side. But we've already lost 3 guys. I am getting some spotting, though. I think the enemy kind of saw that they had a bit of an advantage map-wise or was developing, but I don't know. If you go up on the hill and you don't find the enemy like they clearly did, they killed the Juto somewhere and maybe the Cromwell. But you're kind of pushing on the east side towards the north. You got to be really careful about going, oh, I think we can push the 1-2 line too, because it looks like everyone's there, right? So I have plenty of firepower back here, right? So if you're the purple the purple team in this situation, be careful about starting to push. Honestly, why is the RHM spotted by me? There's no way he should have ever been spotted right there. I mean, these guys pushing in, it's just such a bad idea. I'm just gathering up the damage here. Gotta love that. XM57 dies. The 432, I don't know why I guess he thought maybe he was unspotted. And honestly, there were no shots going at him anymore. Maybe he stopped to shoot as well. But all the shots were going into the XM57. Another thing to look at when you're a light tank and you're doing stuff like that, pay attention if you're trying to figure out if you're not spotted anymore, right? You're scurrying around, there have been shots coming in, they're missing, whatever. And then they just kind of stop. And you haven't really gone someplace that's going to get you dark, i.e. behind a bunch of bushes or over a hill or something. Don't just assume you've gone dark out in the open like that. Also pay attention to where the enemy is shooting. They were all shooting at the XM57, so I don't know why he stopped right there, but there was probably some bad assessment or a bad plan. And I write down kill the scout. Now there's a EBR Hotchkiss. Now I'm looking at him like, all right, that's the last scout we got to deal with. If we can get rid of this guy, we're in good shape. And I've probably done a lot of what I'm going to be able to do here. If we just take a look, and I'm going to leave now. The Su-100's down there. I don't know where the Cheeto or the T-25 is. They both could be on the 1-2 line. That's true. Everything else is kind of accounted for. There's an EZ-8 and a 30-45 wandering around. Not overly worried about them. Certainly don't want them both shooting me at one time. This is what I'm talking about. If you're going to bail out of those bushes, use them as cover for a while, as camo, and then you can make a cut. And I'm looking at the EBR. Did I get spotted here? I did not. And I'm thinking I'm just going to go after him here. I thought he was going to bail. Then he kind of comes up high. I'm like, sort of a missed opportunity on that guy. And I did get lit, so we're going to go ahead and back down. Honestly, it was close to time, but not. It just wasn't quite time. Now he's down to one shot for sure. So we'll just work the 1-2 line a little bit. Oh, look at this. We found the 30-45. Love it. We'll just let the guys take care of that. I sort of dived down a little bit here because I'm low enough that if I'm up where I was, I might get spotted by something in the middle based on being in those bushes or something down those bush lines. I do have the double bush here. I don't really have a double bush if somebody is snuck up here, so that is a bit of a problem. He dies. Fantastic. So we're up to 4,300, and I did get lit. I did get lit, so there you go. And I eat a bunch of damage right there. I didn't like that at all. There's the stupid Hotchkiss. The Su-100 dies. I did get hit by the Cheeto, so I have SA that the Cheeto is over there. Notice I have some damage from him down there, and he wasn't lit, so he's on the 1-2 line, I think. Now the EBR is going to do the surf thing and kind of keep me lit if I stay here. So I'm not interested in that. We're just going to get out of here if we can. Got to take a bit of a chance. See if we can do this without being spotted. A little wiggle jiggle. There we go. So we got out of it. And notice the EBR came right back. I mean, that's exactly what he wanted to do. He wanted to get in there, light me, have the artillery dump on me. Good thing about maneuverable tanks is you can kind of get in and out of stuff. I kind of wish these guys weren't doing this, but at this point, this is basically a win. Scorpion does me a solid, gets rid of the EBR. I'm just going to see if I can maybe find one or two of these guys before I go YOLO in there. Tornvagen, I don't want to get shit. And then the Juto goes. Cheeto SP kills the KV-2. So instead of just YOLO forward, let's see if we can kind of... Yeah, I'm getting caught up on this dead tank, unfortunately. Yep, I hear you, dude. I'm just not as brave as you are at the moment. Cheeto fires pretty quickly. There he is. Didn't aim very well on that. Artie takes a piece of him. Down goes the Cheeto SP. And we can move in. And interestingly, the enemy team just really didn't have much over there either. And we were able to kind of handle them as they pushed. A couple guys died over there. Get rid of this Tornvagen. He dies. Very good. There is still a T-25/2 and a couple Arties, so we find the Artie. We'll hit him. He dies. Push, push, push. A bit surprised that they're not over here. And they're all back in the corner there. Unless somehow the M44 was lit at the same time other stuff lit me and I didn't notice. But I don't think he was there. In fact, we're going to find him in this corner. There we go. A little HE action. Boom. Works out for once for me. Get 315 off of that guy. Reload, reload, reload. The 25-2 and the EZ-8 both spotted last down that away. Not really sure where they are, so we'll come over here. I think the Type 64 lights them. There we go. So he finds them still more or less in the same spot. Looks like maybe they're trying to fall back to the hill, but they don't quite get there. They get cut off. I'm sort of cheering for the 64 to die so I can get the damage, but at least it doesn't push in and get any more of the hit points. Guy missed me, which is nice. We're just going to go after the EZ-8. There goes the 25-2. We're going to look for a ram kill. We slap him. We'll just hit him on the way in. Pretty heavy tank for a light tank. You see the size differential between this thing and the EZ-8. You know, I'm in a supposedly light tank. I'm screaming in there with more hit points than a heavier tank. Higher tier, etc. 5,182. I think there was actually maybe a little bit more in there, based on the weirdness of sometimes dark tanks still giving you assist damage for X seconds after they go away off the map. 908 damage, 2 kills, and a 1 in 24. It's a pretty standard proc game. The enemy light tanks made some mistakes. I played just well enough to sort of stay out of the way. Then I was able to gobble up a few more of the assist points. The enemy team made a really dumb push on the 1-2 line at a bad time. You got to take all that stuff into account. That's when you get these really great assist games. You're relying on the enemy team to not really understand how proc works, and that enemy team seemed to not really understand how proc worked. But there you go, 1 in 24. I'm still working on this thing. Got, like I said, about 30 battles and working towards the 100 battle challenge on it. I don't hate it. I like to try to figure out how to use its HE. Its HE is fairly decent, but HE always lets me down. Almost always lets me down. But that, you know, not bad, not bad. What do you guys think? You have this thing? Do you like it as a light tank? It's one of those weird light tanks. It's not a pure scouting, spotting light tank. It can do that, but it's a bit like the Tessac. It's a bit fiddly to make work. It does have some really good gun depression going on, though, with the hydropneumatic stuff. That's all I've got for today, guys. Have a great one. Sometimes you wait 24 games to get a good one. See ya.